Hey, how's it going? Here I am in another beautiful classroom here at Utah Valley, UVU in Orem, Utah. And I was reflecting on a conversation I had today with my students in one of my classes in a business presentation class. We were talking about the importance of business communication or communication in the business world. And I actually remembered an experience I had a few years back when I was consulting for a big bank. They actually called me in because they had been working on a project for about 2 years. It was a big transformational project. And despite the fact that they had invested a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resource and training, there was something that was making this project just get stuck. It wasn't having the results that they wanted to have. So they called me in and said, hey, can you help us diagnose what's going on? We think maybe it's a leadership or a communication issue, but we're not sure. So one of the things that I told them, I said, look, I'm gonna shadow your leaders, your managers around, especially in the meetings. So they had meetings where they had to communicate this project, and they had been doing that, but without much success. I said, I'm gonna shadow them in these meetings to see what's going on. Why isn't the message getting across? So I want you to imagine this situation. I'd go to these meetings. I'd usually get there early before even the manager would get there. And I'd just get there early just to kind of feel the temperature of the team. So before the manager would show up for the meeting, the people were there already kind of getting everything ready. And the teams, you could feel that there was energy, there was just a positive attitude. It was a good environment. And the moment that the manager would walk in, the first thing that I'd notice is everyone would get very tense, very tense. And the moment that the manager would start communicating, would start talking about the project, all the energy would just nosedive. And it caught my attention, and it wasn't just with one manager or with two or with three, it was with most of the managers, where whenever they'd get up and talk, whenever they'd get up and communicate and present to their teams, instead of getting people excited and elevating the energy would nosedive. And it's very important for you to understand, this is one thing I was telling my class, that whenever we're trying to generate change, whenever we're trying to create change through a project, transformation, the first thing you need is to get people excited, to get people on board with the project. It's not enough to just give information. If it was as easy as giving information, transformation and change would be extremely easy in organizations. But it's not. And it's because it's not enough to just communicate the information. We have to be able to communicate information with emotion. And it's that perfect mix of information with emotion that generates impact and influence in people's decisions and actions. And I believe that as leaders, as managers, we need to really work on our communication skills. I am convinced of that. And it's not something that I've just seen with a few. I've seen it with many, many people. And again, when you are in an organization where your job, your responsibility is to lead change, to move teams, to motivate, to get projects working, communication is crucial. There is a lot of research that's been done that shows that the number one reason why projects fail, it's not because it's not well structured, it's not because of the technology, it's not because of the methodology. The number one reason why projects fail is because of communication, and specifically about how leaders communicate. So I just, again, had this reflection, had this conversation with my class. They're all college students, and I'm so happy that in this forming stage of their life, they're learning how to communicate. But you, as a leader, you're probably already facing situations and challenges where you have to communicate. And my invitation would be to you to understand that you need to better and improve your communication. 70 to 80% of what you do in your day-to-day is communication. So you better be really good at it. And if you're not, the great thing about communication is something that we can work on. It's not something that we can just say, oh, well, a few are chosen, a few have it, a few don't. It's something that we can all work on and get better at. Because ultimately, the success of our projects, the success of our teams, and the success of our business highly depends on our ability to communicate.